Hi, this is Mike, and in this video I'm going to show you my technique on how to do drum replacement for a kick drum, as well as a technique that gives you more consistent kicks for louder, aggressive drums in heavier music. So to get started, this technique may not work for every song, but if you're looking for more punch and a little more clarity for your kick, I think this approach will be very helpful to you. So I'll play you a section of the song without the drum replacement, and then I'll add it in, and you can hear the difference between both of them. And with the drum replacement. So you can hear that it's punchier, it's louder, it's more full sounding. So now I'll show you the drum replacement technique in Logic Pro X. So this is our regular kick drum mic, and this is what it sounds like. So you can tell there's different velocities with the kick, and I want them to be a little more consistent and just to stand out in the mix a little bit more. So focusing on this, I already have done some processing on this channel, but I already have a gate on there, I should say. So I want to add another gate to just give, I just want it to get more the transient of the kick, because the drum replacement software will just pick out the transients over anything else. So what I'm applying to this is going to make the kick drum sound like crap, but that's not what we're going for at this point. We're going to take this gate off later on. So we basically just want to get the transients to register in the gate. So I've already picked out one that I think works pretty well. So this is a before and after with the gate off first, and then I'll turn it on. So it's pretty much, you can hear the kick pretty good, but there's still some bleed from the other snare, cymbals and toms and stuff like that. So we're going to turn it on. This is what it sounds like with a very aggressive gate. So it's just picking up the transients. That's what we want. And now we'll move on to the actual drum replacement. So now you go up to track, go down to replace or double drum track. When the window opens, it defaults to kick. We're going to leave that, and we're going to leave the mode as doubling. Now the threshold, this is something that you can play with to make sure that you're getting all of your MIDI kicks. The approach I take is I figure it's easier to delete MIDI kicks than it is to add them. So I usually keep the threshold really low so it kind of picks up everything that's coming through that kick channel. And so when we applied the gate previously, it just picks out those transients, and that's exactly what we want. Everything else in this menu I leave, so click OK. Now we made our channel. I have two here because I forgot to delete the first one that I made. So this is the channel. This is what it sounds like with the new MIDI sound. We'll just solo that. So as you can hear, it picked out the transients and it made a MIDI track for it. Now, I like a different sounding kick. This is another stock drum set in Logic Pro X. I prefer the SoCal kick. This is what it sounds like. Sounds a little bit better for the style of music that we're making here. So next, as you can hear, the kicks are at different velocities. So this next tip is going to show you how to make them more consistent, more full, and that's through making all of the kick velocities the same. So if we go into the editor for this track, you can see indicated by the different colors that these are all different velocities. So I'm going to show you how to make them all the same. So if you click on the piano roll, this will highlight all of them. And if you go over to the list editor, you can see all the different values for the kicks. And they're ranging from 5, which is probably going to get deleted later. That's a very low value. All the way up to like 105. Some are probably even more than that. So to make them all the same velocity, after you have them all selected, you go up to the top here for functions, click that, go down to MIDI transform, and then click on fixed velocity. Now, since I've already done this, it kind of remembers what I did last. So there might be some other options over here where you have to click equals fixed or something like that, or status all, I'm sorry. It'll say status and you can select all. And then down here, we want to click fixed. And it'll give you the option to set the velocity for all of the notes. So I think a decent number or a decent velocity is 120. So after you set your velocity, you click select and operate. And now if you notice over in the list editor, all the values are now 120. So we can close out of that window, close out of list editor. You can see in the piano roll that they're all the same. Click out of that. Now let's take a listen. So they're all the same velocity. They're all consistent. So this is good and bad. So you notice how it's kind of kicking back and forth. I think we have more MIDI notes than we need for the actual kick drum. So that's sort of the downfall of in that drum replacement having the lower relative threshold, because it adds notes. But sometimes when you have such a varying velocity level with your kick, it sometimes misses some of them, and then you have to add them in manually, which is kind of a pain. So now what I usually do is zoom into this area that I'm doing drum replacement. And, you know, this may seem kind of manual and time consuming, but I'll just go through and I will open the editor and click on the transient and just match that there's a note there. So I see that this matches up. Go to the next transient. That matches up. Go over here. I can see that's matching. That's good. That's good. And right there, it added a MIDI note, but there's no kick transient. It's probably bleed from either the snare or the toms or something like that. So I'll delete that one. There's one. Same thing as before. We can just delete that. So far, it's looking like it's matching up. And then right here is where we're running into that trouble. So we're going to delete these. Same here. And that one as well. Also there. Here. Ooh, we have a lot. But I feel like this is a lot easier than trying to line them up perfectly and matching with the transient. I feel that it's a lot easier to just go through and delete them manually, then add them. So we have a few more. Okay, and perfect. So let's re-listen to that. Okay, so there was a double hit in the beginning. I'm not going to worry about that for now, just for the sake of the tutorial. But otherwise, I'd go through and make sure those are all lined up perfectly. So next, I'm going to export this as an audio file. I think it's a lot easier to work with as an audio file than it is MIDI. It kind of helps you save resources, and you just avoid sort of overloading your computer when you're mixing. So I'm going to save this as kick replacement, and I've already saved it, so I'm going to just do it again. So it goes through the whole track, it's bouncing it out. So now also some more quality control we're going to do for this. When we import this audio file, we're going to do it on this one here. We're going to also make sure the transients are lining up. Just so that we get a nice, consistent kick and it doesn't sound like there's notes that are overlapping. So if we zoom in, see if those transients line up very nicely. Good. So that's what we want. And also give it a playthrough a few times just to make sure it doesn't sound like it's sort of like a flap type of thing. You want it like a really tight sounding kick. All right. And so that's basically it. You can use this for kick. Snare is a little more tricky because it's really tough to just get the snare in the gate. But this is a general technique that I use, and it makes the kick sound consistent and really punch through the mix. And here, I'll let you listen to what it sounds like. Now, I would probably spend a little more time blending it in. So I'll play that. Oops, wrong channel. So I'll play that, and then I'll sort of mix it in to make it sound, the way that I want it to. All right, that sounds great. So that's all. please leave any comments. Tell me how you use drum replacement, or if you have another technique that you think is more effective. I'd love to hear it. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.